coming, and I would also to welcome Ben Crawley. I say your last name right? Crawley. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. And I would also ask for approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Bill.
I'll second.
Thanks, Deanna. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Morning, Bruce.
Morning.
Item 3, public comment. Thanks for being here.
Anything?
Carmen?
Yeah. We have Andrew here.
Yeah, so I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Stafford, and I'm the new Economic Development Director for the Chamber of Commerce. I apologize for not being able to be there in person. I'm just kind of finishing up a CDUM fellowship right now, but I'm really looking forward to collaborate with everybody, get to know everybody, and just start work in Manistee. So thank you for allowing me to attend, and yeah, I'm looking forward to starting in Manistee.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to meeting you. Okay. Item 4, approval of minutes from our last meeting on March 13th. Any additions, corrections, discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Tyler. Second from Lindsay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Financials. We have to approve some expenses. Any questions for Carmen on the financials or the expenses? Thank you, Carmen.
I don't have any updates.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion from Tyler.
I'll second.
Second from Bill. Thanks, guys. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I guess I already did this. Welcome, Ben.
Thanks again.
Why don't you tell us about yourself?
So, my name's Ben Crowley. I like to say I'm the better-looking financial advisor with Edward Jones in town. Since everybody else says, how many are there? Yes, there's 3 offices. I'm originally from Gratiot County, born and raised. Went to the Marine Corps for 8 years, came back, spent about 16 years in Gratiot County. We've owned small businesses, my wife and I. When I left the community, I was actually the president of the chamber. That's how I met Stacy when I came up here. Up here for 7.5 years, kind of to myself. And then a couple of y'all walked in my office and said, would you be interested? I said, absolutely. So happy to be here. Thank you for letting me be part of this. So I look forward to, I absolutely love Manistee. Yeah, we love it.
Ben's office is at 363 River Street.
It is.
Between Greenbush and the Poplar.
Yeah, I like to say next to the outpost.
Next to the outpost.
That's what we tell our clients, next to the outpost.
Thanks again, Ben.
Thank you.
Executive Director report. Carmen.
All right, just want to give you guys a few highlights and updates. So the Michigan class paperwork was submitted, so just want to give you guys an update on that. So that has been completed, and we will be I'll be working with them directly to make sure that we have the appropriate funds that are going to be transferred, so that way we can start investing some of those dollars that we have in our account. The outdoor seating that has been sent to all of the downtown businesses. So for anyone that has any outdoor seating or tables or the parklet, they have been notified of the information. Bill and I and Chief Glass have made some edits to that paperwork, and everybody has been notified of that. So hopefully we'll be seeing some friendly faces downtown sitting outside starting May 1st, hopefully. And then just want to give you guys an update on the facade. The paperwork should be going out this week regarding actually I'm going ahead of myself. Sorry, I'm pulling a Kyle this morning.
That's all right.
So I'll leave that at that. But
Okay.
Stacy, did you have any other updates that you want to provide?
Yeah, I just want to mention Andrew again, so I appreciate him kind of jumping on to introduce himself. He will start officially June 3rd. So just want to give everyone an update on that as well. And then just kind of on the economic development front, we had Nicole Kaminsky, who was once Mark Miller was moved on to his next role, Nicole was she was our economic development intern that was working on a lot of the retention visits downtown with small businesses. So she did a lot of those. So we're just trying to, make sure that we're sitting down with different business owners, see how they were doing, how we can help, and then also talk from the DDA chamber and any connections that we can make, because we want to continue to foster growth in the community, all working together for the positive growth. There's, there can always be challenges, but all leaders want to make sure that we're really fostering growth with those businesses that are here and really helping them with anything they need to support them. And then also, I do want to let you all know we are going to work with the Historic District Commission, so there is going to be a meeting today just to see, making sure that everything's in compliance and that we're working on that. So, and then any more information that we can have to support our small businesses, especially in the downtown district, we're happy to do that. So.
Thank you, Stacy and Carmen. Any questions? Okay. Thanks again, Andrew. Ad hoc committee reports, facade grant. Carmen.
Okay, that's where I can speak now. Okay, so for the facade grant, just want to let you know that the letter will be going out this week to the 5 recipients that will be receiving the funds. So hopefully, once those documents have been signed, they can go ahead and get started with the work.
All right. Streetscape. Little update. Bill and I went on a road trip to Midland a couple weeks ago and looked at their streetscape. Anything to add, Bill?
Oh, just, I think we should have we did have pictures, but.
Yeah, we don't have a
just
presentation
They
yet.
did the curb list. They had a lot of areas, like at the intersections where they set up either some sort of covered pagoda, fireplace. They had some bollards that also had water hookups and electrical, but just it was kind of a clean look. They used kind of concrete throughout. There was kind of exposed aggregate on the smooth. So I think we kind of had that issue between the pavers and the sidewalk. And the pavers, I think there's been issues with how it was installed, but just the conflicts there. So I think, I think it was a good road trip. And then I think we're looking at a next meeting with the subcommittee with Spicer. And I'm hoping to schedule it with them in their office so we can look at all the utilities.
Yeah, it was a very different streetscape and different downtown than ours, but I was kind of focused on the elements and I really wanted to see curbless streets, and that was helpful to see that and look at the slopes and the material differences. And so Bruce had suggested this last year already. He was impressed by it as well, so it was nice to see something different.
Did you guys happen to be able to connect with their DDA or city manager?
Not yet, no.
Be curious on the cost and if they are able to share that, and then if that was supported by any of, like Dow Chemical or anything like that.
I did see, just kind of doing an internet search, it looked like Dow did contribute millions of dollars to it, so
Yeah.
that always helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did kind of make a short list of things that we were curious about that the city manager could probably help out with on information, so yeah. Anything to add to this, Bruce, since you're on the committee?
Notice the difference in the way that the traffic flows down there?
There wasn't any traffic. It was a Friday morning. It was really quiet.
Right.
But yes.
The traffic, the through traffic, travel traffic is routed elsewhere. They don't use it as a thoroughfare. They use it as a destination. There's stop signs, and no one seems to mind stopping at the stop signs.
Actually, that was one thing that I pointed out too, is there's a lot of stop signs, like every intersection for sure. And there might have even been some mid-block ones, but it definitely slowed things down.
And they had a wider, just building to building, it was wider, but the actual street and then the parking area was the same.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had loading zones off the side streets, which Kyle was very interested in for truck deliveries.
They had a speaker system.
Yep, we did have that.
Yeah, it was a very kind of modern and contemporary look, but the design of it in terms of the elements we could definitely use some of those.
Do they still have that open where there's no traffic going through part of the street? Because the last time we were there, it was completely, it was kind of shut down. And
It was completely open, but did they have bollards going up and how did they block it off?
kind of a section that was just open from business to business and seating and had people of all ages out there, so it was just kind of neat, so, but there was no traffic that was able to go through that, so.
And we're there during the day with, it was the Good Friday when the offices were closed, but it seemed like a lot of, there aren't a lot of restaurants right now, you have the Beach Hotel, but we thought probably be more activated at night, but that makes sense that they're closing down for more of a street just activity.
Yeah.
One more thing on the street, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Everybody should have received the Google document in the board packet email section to fill out the priorities of DDA board member. Thank you for those that submitted their priorities. For those that have not, if you could get that to me today, that would be super helpful, because we are having a subcommittee meeting on Friday, so I would love to be able to bring them back to the meeting and have a concrete idea of what you guys all think. So, you know who you are.
Do you
I
know
will,
do you know who they are?
They should know who they are, so.
Okay, thanks, Carmen. Social district events, Karen's gone, do you have anything on that?
Bill, I'm going to defer it to you on that. Deanna, you too. I'll have you guys kind of take over that.
I'll start off and you can tell me what, but we looked at other communities that had a similar program with that event trailer, and they had kind of a brochure that defined how it's used. I think that was a big thing about our policies for it. So we thought it could be similar to the outdoor seating, where here's how it works, and then insurance, there are a lot of insurance questions about it, so I think still have some work to do on it, but Lindsay or Deanna, anything else?
I was at a funeral, so I did not make it to
Oh,
that
that's right,
meeting.
yep.
No, I think it's coming along. Every time we meet, it's coming closer to fruition, I think. We've really got a good list of what would be helpful in the trailer, and yeah, just a few more questions, insurance-wise, so that we can bring forward the whole total cost of the package
Okay.
and start moving on.
Do you think by next meeting we could have a?
I think it depends on who's doing that. It's just kind of a busy time.
Okay.
With budgets and negotiations, but yeah, I think it's coming along. We were kind of pushing this originally to get something for a winter event, so
Okay.
I don't think there's a,
Yeah,
but we want to keep moving
Okay.
on it,
in the next couple of months, okay. Thank you. Moving on to old business, TIF financing. Tyler.
Yeah, so the subcommittee had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and mainly discussed outlining the next steps and to have a program or financing vehicle ready to propose to the board. Some of the next steps we identified were creating the application guidelines, what criteria or requirements would be with the program to be financed through the TIF, what administrative processes we need to go through. We also discussed meeting with property owners that might have projects that are being worked on that might be applicable, and see how this financing would impact their financial projections, and meeting with local banks to get a lender's perspective of financing that type of agreement. So we have a follow-up meeting next week, I believe, and hopefully have more for next week.
Cool, thank you. Any questions for Tyler on that program? Moving on to new business. A couple months ago, Mark Sandstead presented to us on an advertising proposal. Did he talk to you on that?
Yes, and
Okay.
he wants to know if we would be interested in doing that again. He reached out to me, so that's why it's on the agenda today. Looking at the next fiscal year, so it would be July 1st through October 31st. I know this wasn't really something that we budgeted for, but I wanted to kind of open the discussion about this because this is something that we did before. I'm not sure if it makes sense to do it again, considering that the bridge is going to be open. But would like some feedback.
Yeah, it was
you guys.
presented sort of in the spirit of the highway closure, the bridge closure, which made sense, but.
I would just like to add that in listening to the ads, because our businesses did that, they did a really good job at the numbers that the ads were played, the amounts, the music, I thought they did a really good job, that it might be worth doing one more summer. We're just coming off of the bridge closure, and then we're gonna start some other construction on 31. I don't see any harm in doing it for one more time, and I think that $500 for the cost of the DDA's contribution, and as many businesses as did jump on board, I feel like it's a good expenditure of some advertising for downtown. That's my 2 cents.
So the proposed on this sheet is 4 months for $2,000. What do we have not budgeted?
We did not budget for this particular item for the advertisement.
Okay. What is the budget line? Do you know what the budget line item looks like for advertising?
Yeah, I can get that for you.
Anybody else have any opinions on this? Or?
I'm kind of neutral on this, as a concept. What I think would be important is, what are the advertising themes? If it's not the bridge, what is it? What are the points that we want to get across? I think that should lead the conversation rather than just a general advertising, spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to communicate? That's what I'd like to react to.
Okay.
We budgeted $15,000 for the next fiscal year. Now keep in mind that we have social district items coming out of that budget line item. I'm not sure if any of these special event items would be coming out of there, like a wrap for the DDA trailer would be coming out of there.
I think we budgeted separately for that asset. 20 or 25 rings a bell to me, but.
Because we also have downtown decoration design project, and that was $40,000.
One thing we could do, since this is not until July, and I know Mark probably wants to schedule, but if somebody's passionate about this, come back next meeting with a proposal on what the messaging is, and we could certainly vote on it next month as well, so.
Would you like for me to invite him to that meeting and see if he has anything else to add, or if anybody else has any questions he can answer directly?
That's fine. I mean, I think he'll do it. I mean, we're paying for it. He'll do whatever we want to do. So I think somebody just needs to come up with the content and what the messaging is. And
I'd also like to know, what the business owners downtown want communicated, and we could participate in supporting that.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Is the Downtown Connect? Is that the?
We could, Downtown Connect, we could certainly talk about that.
When's the next meeting? Do you know?
Next Tuesday.
Okay.
Next Tuesday. So, also Bruce, on that too, if the DDA is going to make a commitment of the $2,000, $500 monthly, it'd be interesting to know also what other businesses are going to, ask Mark, like what other businesses jumped on board. We don't want the DDA just doing this solely.
Mm-hmm.
It really has to be a community effort. But I think portraying something out there that a vital downtown is extremely important to a vital community, and that the growth of our downtown also elaborates into the growth of our community. So that is a really strong message to send in the interim of all this other construction that's going to start happening on 31 and other detours. So maybe we do something positive instead of, hey, we're advertising because we have all these shutdowns and detours going on, that we advertise just the whole vitality of our, that we've done some really good work.
or supporting the, event advertising budget,
Yeah.
whatever the events are.
But I would like to see, maybe Mark could have the numbers of like how many other businesses did also support this, so that it's not just the DDA putting out money towards this.
Would you and/or Lindsay be willing to take this to that meeting, talk to them about that, say that the DDA is possibly willing to partner, and then see if there's some interest there.
Yeah.
And then it'd be nice if he could shift and be able to advertise it. If you have a block
Yeah.
party, include that, other events like that as
I
well.
think like the radio station, it's mostly local people listening to it. The
Yeah.
tourists aren't necessarily listening to this, and I think the local people, they know how to navigate around the bridge by now, so I think we can kind of shift away from that a little bit. Maybe try to encourage local people to come down during the summertime, because honestly, they kind of hibernate, when the tourists come, and then as soon as Labor Day comes, they all come back. So maybe something to kind of focus on the locals to continue to support during the busy months.
Okay, we'll wait to hear from you next meeting. And I'm sure Mark would be willing to do the Connect meeting as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, quick meeting today. Any additional public comment?
I have two things.
Please.
So my first comment is kind of as a city council member. I've had a lot of citizens in our community reach out about the streetscape study. And I know as a council member, I'd asked about it a couple times with a couple others. Is there a way that the public can see that? I mean, it's on your agenda and we're asking people to come and make informed comments, but they haven't seen the study.
I think it's on the website, isn't
It
it?
is on the DDA
We put
website
it on the
under
city
forms.
website as well.
It's not on the city.
It is, I can show it to you.
So I don't know where it's at, because we just looked and we saw the amphitheater, but I didn't see the DDA.
Yeah, it's on the DDA website.
Okay, so I'll check that. I think there was a communication error. I think they were looking on the city, because several people said we haven't seen it. So
Okay.
I'll direct them to the DDA.
Yep, and I can
Council
send you
members,
the information.
So there's the
here.
amphitheater and then the DDA. I think you can scroll over, but we can try to make it more visible. but-
Okay, because I mean, the comments I'm hearing from people, which I think they're unrelated, but they're like, if my road's not getting done or my street's not getting done, why are we focusing on River Street when that's not the worst? And I think if they saw it in its entirety, they would kind of get the idea behind it. My other concern is more, I guess, as a citizen. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like there's a gap right now, and maybe we can use this opportunity with what's kind of going on downtown to investigate how we can address a concern, so hopefully it won't be a concern in the future for other business owners. City council recently passed an ordinance. I can honestly say in all my years of living here, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, my parents owned a business downtown. I've never seen one business owner attacking another business owner. Business owners don't always get along, but there has always been decorum and being civil to one another, and I think this has crossed a line. I don't know what's going on there, if there's a gap between ordinances or what, but at one point in time, there was a sign ordinance, and I remember the police coming down and talking to several business owners when they first got electronic open signs and saying that's against the ordinance. I'm not saying I'm against that, but I guess what I'm saying is when you're putting out public signs attacking a business owner, I feel like that sends the wrong message. On a DDA level, you're all in this together and everybody's supposed to try to help uplift everybody and work together. So I think it undermines the basic structure of the DDA. And then as a city level, I mean, if I was coming here as a new business and I didn't know all the politics behind it, I would think, are they welcoming businesses? I don't know, somehow there's a gap that I think has to be addressed. I go back to, I think a year ago, I think all of us saw the thing with Traverse City had a similar situation. It wasn't an individual, but it was a store attacking a group of people. They had something in place and they addressed it, but there's been no public statement from the DDA, so people are grasping, and that is another hot topic thing in the community, and I don't think they know all of it, but I think there's a gap in either ordinances or expectations, and somehow I think the DDA and the city has to work together so we make sure somebody else isn't in this position. I have had numerous business owners and building owners, which can be two different things as we all know, contact me. Some of these building owners have owned buildings for 30 years. Some of them own multiple buildings. That's a huge investment, not only tax-wise, but just monetary dollars to purchase a building and maintain it and update it. And they're concerned and appalled. And they're like, what does this mean? So I'm not sure what's going on, but I think somehow we have to take a look at this. And maybe that's the only positive that comes out of this situation, is that we can correct it and identify where the gap is so that this doesn't happen again to somebody else. I'm totally about freedom of speech and everybody having their rights. You want to put up signs about elected officials, we're held to, there's a higher standard there, but attacking individual business owners, I just feel is counterproductive, and I'm not sure what the end goal there is, so that was all I had to say.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Well, I think we discussed this at the council a few times now, and we've all brought it up, but I agree with Seth, some ways the DDA should have stepped into this thing. And the police have been down there. I don't know how much you feel satisfied with what's happened. I know they were in court today on some hearing. I don't know if it's been a parking ticket, but
Councilman,
we didn't handle this. I mean, I think we're wasting time.
did you say that, I'm sorry, I didn't hear, did you say that the DDA should have prevented this?
Well, I thought they should have jumped into it.
Okay.
I mean, do you have any kind of deal with the signs? I mean, it's
We have
on
no
TV.
enforcement.
We're not an enforcing authority. We're just,
No, but you could come out and say that's not right.
It's not right.
we're talking, I think we're talking about a very isolated one-person incident here that I don't want to get into just because it's crazy and you can't fix crazy.
That means you put signs on the windows so
I-
you have people coming through.
I get it, I don't agree with any of it, but there's nothing that the DDA can do. I mean, I think Chief Glass and the city manager have done, that's just my opinion. I think they've been dealing with this a lot, but I don't know what the DDA can do, other than bring more attention to a crazy situation.
Well, you brought it into it by bringing TV reporters.
I didn't bring any TV reporters in.
No, obviously it's my business, my name that's being attacked, but I have been told from the beginning that, it's a city issue, that the city needs to take care of it. Unfortunately, Kyle is right, Seth and I had a conversation, we could send a letter. We could send a letter saying, take the signs down. Unfortunately, that letter is going to get posted in the window with my cease and desist letter, with pictures of parking tickets and whatever. That is the reality, and so it is very frustrating because there is freedom of speech, and now I don't know that the city wants to get involved in that because that's kind of the card they're playing now. So. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm very frustrated because it makes us all look bad. I mean, I have people coming into TJ's every day. I cannot, saying, I can't believe the city is allowing this. I can't believe the DDA is allowing this. I can't, nobody will do anything. And I just say, like, there's nothing we can do. Like, I don't know, everybody's hands are tied, and I mean, you were at the council meeting. I was very frustrated. I am very frustrated, but at this point, they could be here till May. I'm hearing that they could be here till May now. So that's unfortunate that, May we start to get busy and this is what our guests are going to see. I'm embarrassed. I'm not only for myself, my business, but for the whole downtown. So that's my opinion. And it's a very, like Kyle said, it's an unfortunate situation that you can't.
The more we talk about it, the more attention we draw to it, yeah.
Well, and I think that's what the person wants, clearly, so it's
But
unfortunate.
on the flip side of that, I have not said a word. I have not retaliated, I have not done anything, and the signage continued to get worse. And that's when I finally said, I have to say something.
Yeah.
When you have signs boycotting a downtown business, that's where I drew the line. You want to put say whatever you want about me. I employ almost 40 people during the summer. You boycott my business, there's 40 people without a job. So.
I have a question, and this is for maybe City Council and Bill. Do you guys have any type of ordinance that has a percentage of the windows that can have signage? Because I have done, based on just some discussions, have looked at other communities and reached out to colleagues just to try to find, okay, what is the current ordinance or what do we have? So if that doesn't comply, then that needs to be addressed.
So Stacy, I thought that was the sign ordinance. like, I thought there was a sign ordinance about how long windows signs could be in, if it was like a temporary, like you're looking for an employee. I thought it was about coverage, I thought about all that. But at the last city council meeting, Lindsay had mentioned, like, it was like, we don't know who enforces that, the DDA or the police. And I understand what Kyle is saying 100% about the DDA does not do code enforcement or enforcement of these ordinances. I understand that. As a council member, I'm confused on how a business owner is being told, we don't know who enforces an ordinance. Like, somehow, and again, I'm not saying that there's wrongdoing on the DDA part, this isn't a criticism. I'm saying there's a unique situation that I think none of us have encountered before, and we're confused by it. This provides an opportunity to say, what can we strengthen, or what do we maybe need to re-examine so that this either comes to an end and it doesn't become an issue in the future? Because ultimately, whatever we're doing here is laying groundwork to set a precedent. And I guess that's what I'm saying is, like, we need to either strengthen communication so everybody understands enforcement of ordinances comes from the police department, so the DDA is taken out of the mix with that, with even people questioning that. Or we need to say, you know, at the beginning, I guess I just feel like a statement, I get what you're saying, you know, giving publicity, giving it attention kind of sometimes feeds that. But some type of a statement would at least let the public know where the DDA stands on this. Because everybody's kind of like, why hasn't the DDA said something?
Well, you keep mentioning everyone. I guess if there's challenges, I would encourage people to email the DDA.
I have.
So.
I've told them it's an umbrella. The DDA is kind of under, you know, the city to some degree, but I'm like, they're their own separate thing. So if you have concerns about the DDA.
Well, I
you
think we
reach out
need
to
the
them.
city, I'm just gonna
We
throw
need
this
to
out
work
there.
together.
I think the city and DDA have been working, I
Oh,
mean, Bill sits on,
absolutely.
and so I think that that's
So I
kind
guess,
of more
I've
cohesive.
had multiple conversations with our city attorney about enforcement action. I think this ultimately does turn into a ticket, it goes to court. It's not a safety health situation where we can immediately get involved. I mean, there's the bird feeder situation, which there's been a ticket, it's going to an informal hearing. Then you have all this other stuff, which is, you know, you can call it harassment, intimidation,
Who
menacing,
does
there's all sorts of things.
Zoning administration for the city.
Then there's the sign ordinance, which is like, you know, 50% coverage, they have to be only 60 days, and unfortunately, there's probably ways to make sure it's not 50, the signs can be moved, so it is frustrating, because it's, and then ultimately that would lead to a ticket that would go to court, so, and then that would play out in court, however the judge, so there's not an immediate, and I think there's a lot of frustration, and there's a lot of impatience wanting to see something happen, but that's just not how this works, and we have to keep in perspective that this isn't, you know, this isn't a giant hole in River Street. This is kind of just a, unfortunately, a frustrating thing, but, and you've been dealing with it a long time, I understand that. But,
So with the sign ordinance, Katie Mill came and talked to the Downtown Connect one time, about a year ago, or before she wasn't in that position anymore. And she said that any sign put in your window had to be approved by the Historic Society. Any sign put in your window had to be approved. None of those are approved. The Historic Society, I get, they are not also an authoritative, you know, they can't go and issue tickets. But, you know, the sign was blinking in our on sign was blinking. That can't be. That was against Historic Society's regulations. So she came, she let us know, I walked over, I turned it off. The flag was hanging the wrong way at Alpine Chocolate House. We got cited on there, we got talked to about that. I had no idea. I loved being educated that the viewer, the stars go to the left-hand side. We turned it around, we were fine. I know where all this comes from. I mean, then we had tables out for 2 days when it was 60 degrees in February, early March, sorry. Somebody came, Chief Glass came and talked to us, and I'm sorry, Chief Glass, and we were notified about that they can't be out to May 1st. They went in right away. Had they had not of, though, I would say that I'm like a repeat offender of not knowing the rules. I apologize about that, and I would have expected that there would have been some recourse if I kept doing these things.
So Deanna, I think ideally we all follow these guidelines. We have a historic downtown, and that adds consistency and makes sure that there's just kind of a brand to the downtown, and
Yeah.
so it is kind of education, making you aware, oh, these are the guidelines. Unfortunately, I think if you have a situation where someone's being evicted, they have nothing to lose, there's not that, and if you're not interested in, keeping up their business at this point, I mean, we're just in a situation where, because of the delay about eviction, we have someone who's just being, the situation has occurred. So I think there's a benefit to following the guidelines.
Yeah.
How much, do we go for a circuit court injunction for, how silly does that make the city and everyone look for going to a judge and saying we need to go in and remove signs? I mean, this is kind of where we're at with some of this stuff.
So have they been issued any fines? and
They have
stuff?
received a ticket, and as Councilmember Grabowski said, there's an informal hearing on the
Oh,
11th, I believe, and then it goes to a formal hearing,
keep fine.
probably. So anyway, I don't think I want to get into the nuances of
Yeah.
every step at this stage. But
Thank you, Bill, for the additional clarification. Thank you for public comment. And I think we've moved on to board member comments. Oh, sorry, Barry, public comment.
I'm going to say something, and I'm going to change the direction of the conversation from the specific incident, and I think it's more in line with the mission and goals of the DDA. And that is, you have to think about the character and purpose of a downtown. And I think, as Manistee, we struggle with having a downtown full of what I'll say are professional businesses. People that are making their lives and livelihoods from running their business professionally. And part of that is due to our extremely low rents. I mean, anybody can open a business as a hobby and think, I'm doing something good for the downtown, without the proper skills or necessary talent to succeed. And I think that leads to turnover. It leads to attracting businesses that aren't maybe the best fit for our downtown. What our downtown needs is to be successful. Rents need to go up, because that, as a building owner, makes rents sustainable, because rents right now really, by the time you look at property insurance and taxes, rent's basically barely covering that. The downtown needs to grow, be successful, and then these types of problems won't be part of the issue, because you've got professional people managing businesses, trying to be successful, working together, advertising together, promoting events together, being much more cohesive than you do in an environment where, oh, I want to start a store and I'll spend 3 months a year doing that. And it's a change that needs to happen in our downtown, and I think the DDA has a role to play in that.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, any further board member comments?
just Carmen, when we get the social district signs, if we have to add them by the North River Walk, let me know.
Yep.
Put those up.
Working on that. Thank you.
Ben?
It was interesting. I look forward to more.
It gets better.
I'm a little, again, been here for over 7 years. My wife, she moved up 2 years ago. Being in several communities, I've never seen what you're all going through. And from again, military guy, there's structures, and to see that what's happening is so frustrating that you have to make so many phone calls to get something done. As I sat in the city meeting the other night, my mind's blown. So I know you're attacking it, but it stinks that you have to go through this. So I'm glad you're all working on it, and again, thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you. Ian, anything? Lindsay?
Thank you.
Tyler?
Barry stole my thought. So I have one other thought. At the risk of being called Pollyanna, and I'm rarely on the Pollyanna side of things, one of the reasons this issue stands out is because it stands out. This is an issue about behavior. We get somebody behaving badly. It is offensive because so few people behave badly. So look at it like that. Let's all try to take a deep breath and wait until this bad behavior is gone. It stands out because it's so unusual. Let's be happy with the unusual, right? I'm glad it's unusual. There, I said it, I'm glad.
I appreciate it.
Pollyanna.
Thank you, Bruce, that's helpful to me. All right. I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion from Tyler, second from Bill. Thank you.
Okay.